So why don't we go around? I'm Tim Allen, Chair of the Finance Committee. There are two other members on the Council of the Finance Committee. I see one of them, Catering Walsh, on
Hi there.
Zoom land. She's here. The other one is Jose Delgado. I don't see him as yet, but he's usually here. Bob, you want to start introducing?
I'm Bob McCarroll. I'm Chair of the Springfield Community Preservation Committee.
All right, we have all your stuff tonight. That's cool.
And I'm Juanita Martinez, also on the
CPA,
committee.
the CPC or whatever.
And Karen Lee from this Community Preservation Committee, the administrator.
Okay, great. Thank you. Kathy, you want to go?
Kathy Bono, Capo.
Kathy Bono, CAFO, Steve Lonergan,
Steve Lonergan, acting comptroller.
acting comptroller, Sequoia,
Yes, sir. Sequoia Malone, grants director.
grants director, and almost like a fourth member of the finance committee. You know,
Yeah, at
here
this
all the
point,
time. We're not giving you a vote yet. Pete,
Peter Garvey, Director of Capital Asset Construction.
great, thank you. Who else is over there? I can't really see.
Brown.
Kathy Brown.
Kathy Brown from East Springfield.
Great, thank you, Kathy. Laura, I think I see Laura.
Yolanda Cancel, CPA.
So could you, oh, Yolanda canceled. Great. How are you, Yolanda? Thank
I'm
you.
doing great, thank you.
Great, thank you. Keep going. LeVar,
Counselor Doug Bruce.
great. Thank you for joining. I can't see everybody from my perch, so just keep going around.
Fraser and Lindsay.
Lindsay Hackett, Deputy CAFO.
Great, thanks, Lindsay.
And then Molly from library.
Oh, Molly's here. All right. Hi, Molly.
Walter Kroll's on, representing McKnight Neighborhood Council.
Excellent. Great, Walter. Welcome.
Thanks, Tim.
And do we have Molly? Did you want to introduce yourself?
She's muted.
She's muted. Okay. All right. Well, if there's anyone else.
Hey, don't forget Laura.
Oh, he said my name.
All right.
Laura Walsh, Park Department.
I didn't hear it.
Thanks, Mom.
I wouldn't forget her. You've been my colleague forever. I wouldn't forget Laura,
Amy
our
Giroux.
park department person. How are you? We're just introducing ourselves, so you're up.
Okay, Donald Mitchell, Renaissance Development.
Excellent. Nice to see you, Donald. Does anybody need an agenda? I happen to have, sometimes I don't have any, today I have an abundance. Would anybody like one?
I think I'll take one too.
I might as well take one. Well, thank you.
I think I have a. So the way we did this, we had a lot of stuff tonight, like 45 items on the big agenda. And so I started this meeting at 4:45 instead of 5:30. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. And we gave Kathy Bono and her team that's usually here for finance committee a choice of going first or last. And she chose first, if I'm not mistaken. Did I hear that right?
I did.
Hear that right? So we're on item 1, donation of goods to the Springfield Library Department. Is that a Lindsay or is that a Molly?
You're muted, Molly.
Molly.
I thought I had unmuted, sorry. I can speak to that. These were donated, they're a donation from the United Way of Franklin, Hampshire County. We received 20 hotspot devices, and each one has a 12-month data plan. So that will add to our current collection. We currently have 200, and they're always out. 100 are funded by the city and 100 by the Library Foundation. So we welcome these new donated goods.
Great, excellent. Any comments on that? Anybody? Molly wants to roll into number 2. That looks like yours as well.
Sure. Oh, that is a donation from, that's from, let me see, right now is from a donor that wished to stay, private. It's $1,000 for the Read Right Now program that will be put towards service that they provide.
Okay, thanks. Third is the Parks Department donation, $2,300.
That won't be me, Mr. Chair.
Okay, 6 points.
So this is a donation from Lisa and Jeffrey Knight for a memorial bench at Forest Park.
Who's the bench, who's the bench in memory of?
It doesn't say specifically, it just says who it's from, and that's from Lisa and Jeffrey Knight.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Sequoia. Seeing no questions on that. These are all easy ones to start. SLF, Central Library Teen Youth Development Programs Grant. That you, Molly, again?
Yes, that's a donation of $5,000 by Nancy Herbshot, and it's the funds are to be used for the Central Library Teen Department for developing programs related to creativity. So they're excited to be planning some new programs.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's a nice donation. Number 5, American World War II Heritage Cities Grant.
That was me, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, so
So this is a $10,000 grant from the National World War II Museum. So the city of Springfield is actually a World War II heritage city. And with that designation, we were allowed to apply for this opportunity. And with this opportunity, we will be partnering with Commonwealth Murals to do a World War II heritage city mural somewhere here in the city of Springfield.
good. Yeah. Were you involved in applying for that?
I was, yes.
Great. Anybody, any questions or anything? All right. On to item 6. This order is again Springfield Library Foundation Summer Reading Programs, 10,000.
Yes, this is a grant from the Library Foundation from People's Savings Bank. The grant was written by the Library Foundation. The funding went to the foundation, and that is now coming to the city and for $10,000, and will help us fund our summer reading program, which altogether will cost about $30,000 to $40,000.
This is just a parenthetical. Did you see that they put their name on the Hartford Civic Center last week? People
Oh,
Saving
yeah.
of Holyoke is now the named sponsor of, what was the XL Center, or used to be the Hartford Civic Center,
Yeah.
now the People's Bank Center. So I hope they still invest some money in Springfield, not just in Hartford. But anyway, it's kind of cool. On to item 7. Kathy, yours is a little bigger than these other ones.
It is, Counselor. At the end of every year, we move the balance that's in free cash to the stabilization reserve fund. So we started the year with, in November, we certified 24 free cash at 21 million. So the remaining balance is $2,480,718.91. And we're moving that into the stabilization reserve fund.
So the original 21 million, we spent the rest of it on other
Everything but the
things.
2.4, and at the end of every year, we move it into stabilization. So our stabilization will go up from 71.7 to 74.2 million.
That's good. We often spend all the free cash. That's good. Any questions on that? That's a bigger one. Anybody? All right, thanks. Number 8, budget transfer within a department, finance to multi-year pay-go fund.
So these are the pay-go every year. We fund the pay-go account in the budget, and we use the pay-go funds to do small capital projects so that we don't have to bond for the small projects throughout the year. And then at the end of every year, we move the balances in those projects to a multi-year fund account. So those projects can continue. So we're asking the council to move 2.9 million into the multi-year account.
Would that be more than, that's not pay-go that we put 3 million into?
We put
start?
about 4.9 in every year.
This is the same thing.
Yes, but there was a projects, these are ongoing projects, so we have to move them to multi-year funds so the projects can continue and finish.
So if we put 4 some odd in there, we didn't spend it all.
We committed all but 300,000 of it. And we're moving it to the multi-year. So if the projects we have funded, if there's any change orders or we need other funding, it'll be there.
Okay, that's good. Anybody?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, are there specific projects you're talking about?
Yes, we've funded specific projects that we're carrying over. Harriet Tubman Park grant match, the netting at Franconia Golf Course, the bridge work at Veterans Golf Course, Magazine Park grant match, Bernie Avenue Hawk Beacon Project, SciTech Elevators, and DPW Speed Bump Project.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Went on to number 9. Is that you as well?
It's me. So we have, as bond, when the city issues, debt for different projects, when we close out those projects, and I think most of these are, a lot of these are, either facilities or Peter Garvey shop. Once the projects are closed out, we identify funds that are available from the debt that's been issued, and we move those funds to current bond authorizations. What we try to do is repurpose unexpended bond proceeds so that we're not going out and borrowing for all the projects we've issued. So we had money left in Kylie, Zanetti, Kensington, and Mary Lynch schools, windows and doors. We had an available balance of 715,000. Frederick Harris, Sumner Avenue, Indian Orchard, boiler replacements, we had about 1.6 million left once they closed out the projects. And the DeBerry construction and MCDI demo, we had about 778,000 left once the projects were done. So we're gonna move those bond funds to the Franconia and Veterans Golf Course projects so that we don't have to issue debt for those projects. We're just repurposing bond funds. And we
Okay,
have extra money because Peter Garvey does such a great job.
that's good. Welcome. That's good. So, all you hear about is, frequently hear that things are more expensive than they used to be.
It's going up.
You're gonna hear about that.
That's coming up. So, but something like this, does it have an original estimate? And then we re-estimate it, and then that's why we have money left in it, because we did a second estimate, or?
I think Peter can answer that.
The estimates go out, the bids come back, so the bids are the real numbers, so we manage towards the bids. So an estimator, professional estimator estimates all these jobs and tells us what to bond for, basically.
But the bids may come in.
Or an automated function.
Oh, it's a person, it's many companies that do it.
And counselor, I'll just add that sometimes depending on the interest rates at the time, it's best for us to issue debt while the project is in the beginning stages versus at the end. Ideally, we would issue debt at the end when we know the exact cost, so we wouldn't have these unexpended bond proceeds. But sometimes it's more advantageous for us to bond in the beginning because of interest rates, so we do that. And sometimes we do end up with extra bond proceeds because projects come in under budget.
Okay, so I get what you said, but how relate that to this? Is that what's happening here?
This is what's happening here. Rather than issuing new debt for new projects we have extra bond money available in older projects that came in under budget. So we're going to use that money to cover the newer projects rather than having to go out and issue more debt.
Okay, great. Good explanation. Thanks, Lindsay.
Counselor Delgado is signing up.
Oh, great. Counselor Delgado, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, running a little behind today.
It's all right. It happens to all of us, even to me once in a while. A little joke there. So, I know there'd be a couple of people here who might get the joke. Counselor Delgado, we are on item 10. We just moved $3 million to the golf courses. And at the request of Kathy and Lindsay, et cetera, So if you don't need to catch up or anything, we're on item 10, which is the bond authorization for 34 million for future projects for Pete Garvey, I would say. Pete, is that you?
Yes, it's $34 million bond for 5 projects. 4 of them or 3 of them are window projects, Pottinger, Milton Bradley, Rebecca Johnson. The roof at Commerce is a big one, and the Indian Orchard roof. These are all projects that are beyond their useful life as far as the windows and door projects for the MSBA. So we got accepted in for 9 projects in the MSBA. These are the first 5. There'll be 4 others coming in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
And will we be also bonding for them, or is their money in here?
No, we'll be bonding for there once we get the numbers in from the estimators.
And this is 80% reimbursement.
So we're bond for 34 million and we'll get 28 back roughly or something like
You
that.
get 80% back.
Yeah.
And they usually get, these are really, usually get off.
These are good 80% projects. You know, there's not a lot that's ineligible. Like on the new school building projects, they say 80% of eligible costs. That eligible is a real word there, because it comes back at about 62%.
And I know we don't always get to 80, we used to get.
We track these pretty good. They track around anywhere from 78 to 80%.
So the bond of 34 million, we actually take the bond or issue the bond
For the whole amount we have.
for the whole amount. And then as the money starts coming back to reimburse us.
We don't issue the debt for the whole amount, but we have to get the bond authorization for the whole amount.
The bond authorization that you all vote on, Counselor, is to give us the authorization to spend the total budget. And then based on the amount that it's the city share, the 80% that Peter's talking about. That's what we go and we issue debt, actual debt for. That's when we get the cash in. But for now, it's just an authorization to allow us to move forward with the project, knowing that eventually we'll be issuing the debt.
And so, as Pete said, there's 4 more projects, so there'll be another item like this in the near term. And is that of any concern? Like, you know, we used to always count like how much debt do we have and all that. We used to run around 30 million in debt or something like that. I'm sure you keep track of that, but
We do, I don't have the numbers, but Lindsay may.
That's our debt service number. So that's how much we pay back annually in the budget. Right now, it's around $20 million. Yeah, we still keep an eye on all of that stuff. And yes, we come to you for this for every MSBA project, and we'll be coming to you in the future with more MSBA projects.
all right, that's good. Any concerns, any follow-up questions about Counselor Delgado or Counselor Walsh? Anybody? Counselor Bruce? Go ahead, Counselor Walsh.
I just think it's great that we still are getting 80% reimbursement. Is that true for all communities? It seems to me that Springfield has a really special relationship with the school building authority. And I think a lot of it was through Pat Sullivan that we're getting some of these good rates.
80% is the max rate that they'll give us. It's a Springfield. It's calculated every time we go in, but because of our needs, we're at 80%.
Well, that's good. Helps with the bonding.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Pete seems to be part of that team that gets complimented a lot, which Pat Sullivan was on the team and John Kerrigan.
Mhm.
Pete, they seem to have a great relationship with the state on this stuff.
They have money in the MSBA and we're a good customer.
Good customer. That's good. All right, questions or anybody? I don't see any. Is that the end of your stuff? Kind of, I think the CPA is the next item. Am I right?
Yep.
All right, you gonna leave?
I think so. My boss lets me leave all day. Yes.
Really? Cool.
You.
You guys are not leaving at once.
Yeah.
Thank you. I see you, Council. See you soon.
See ya.
Okay.
All right. Now, dun, 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 dun. CPA fiscal year 26 budget. Are we gonna start with that, Bob?
Yes, so this is for next year, it has nothing to do with the recommendations that will follow. We have to do a budget every year. The comptroller's office has estimated that the local tax levy will take in about 2.5 million. The state distribution will be 399,000. It's always based on what came in the previous year. And interest on our accounts will be about 262,000. So our grand total is 3,000,001. And the state law requires that we put 10% into our housing pot, 10% into our open space recreation pot, 10% into our historic pot. We can take up to 5% for administration. We take less than that. Our administrative budget is 122,007. And then the rest of it is what's called undesignated reserves that can be spent on either housing or historic or open space and recreation.
The other 70% in flexible. Is that what?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
So 10 for housing, 10 for open space, and 10, what was the last one?
Historic.
Historic.
You have to either spend or save for future spending 10% of your budget every year for historic, 10% for housing, 10% for open space and recreation.
That's great. Before we go on to the orders themselves, what year are we in, Bob?
This is the 8th year. So next year, this budget will be for the 9th year of CPA.
This is our 8th year project.
Yeah. It was approved by the voters in November of 2016. It went on the tax bill July of 2017, and the first project recommendations were autumn of 2018.
No. Good, it's a good story. It's great. Any questions on any of that? The budget, this is mainly the budget. Item 1 there on 4.1. Not seeing any questions, so we'll just move right to the projects themselves. I know there's a lot of projects, 20 or so. You know, I would say give us a, just a high point or some little short description of it. And we'll try for that. We'll ask questions and see if anybody needs any more info. But basically, our role here is to approve the budget and describe and approve the item, the projects themselves. So we'll do that at the end. We have all three of us here. So Councilor Walsh or Councilor Delgado, do you have any suggestions as how we go about this? Any different from just walking through them?
No, I think we should walk through them and take all of them at the end in one vote.
Okay, good suggestion. Great, thank you. All right, so we'll turn it back to you, Bob, and your team, and Marshall Roy Park.
Okay. This is an application that came in from the East Springfield Neighborhood Council in partnership with Parks, Buildings, and Recreational Management, and it is to add all able play equipment to Marshall Roy Park, and we're recommending 300,000. Most of it will come from the recreation account, and the remainder comes from the undesignated reserves.
Okay, and so there's already a playground there, and you're adding these new play structures.
There is, yeah, Marshall Roy is probably the largest playground in East Springfield. CPA has been involved over the years. We helped create a walking path. Within it, we supplied money for exercise equipment along the walking path. We supplied money for a new spray pad. So this is continuing to upgrade Marshall Roy.
Great, that's great. Any questions from anybody on that? Not seeing any, let's move on to.
I did have a quick question. Are these just, through the chair, are these just for the playground? Is it the fields?
This is for playground equipment that children of all abilities can use.
Got it. Okay. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly.
Yeah, that's great.
Uh,
Oh, that-
To
no,
the chair, did Kathy Brown, did you want to make any comments?
Just want to say thank you for everyone's help in getting us forward. We're excited about what has happened over the past 8 years at Marshall Roy. And, you know, the CPA has been great. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Kathy. Okay, thanks, Counselor Walsh, for that question, that item. So let's move on to item 3, Forest Park Fitness Course.
So this project came from the Forest Park Civic Association in partnership with Parks, Buildings and Recreational Management. And it is to create a new fitness course exercise area in Forest Park. And we're recommending 300,000 from the undesignated reserve.
You said there's no existing thing there, this is a
Yep,
new.
there is one, it is falling apart. So it's in an area that is in a sense between the Park Department Administration Building and the Walker Stadium.
Oh, I see what you
There
mean.
is one there now.
In the corner right there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Good. All right, everybody happy with that? Okay, thank you. Forest Park Fitness Course. Next one, financial order for historic home restoration, 6 citywide local historic districts. Yep.
So this is a program which actually the Community Preservation Committee itself runs. It is to help owner occupants of houses in any of our local historic districts do exterior repairs. The participants are chosen by entering an annual lottery. And we are recommending it for 300,000 from the undesignated reserve.
Nice.
And so the next one is from the Springfield Preservation Trust. And so they're asking for CPA funds to address 7-9 Stockbridge Street. It's a building that it was built in 1845, and it's the third oldest building in downtown. And it's on the National Register District.
Did they
So-
buy that building or something, or are they gonna use it?
They did buy it
They did buy it.
over a year,
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, so in 2023, the city council awarded the Springfield Preservation Trust assistance to replace the leaking roof and repair the brick facade. So this granting cycle, they're asking for CPA funds to address the urgent need of stabilization resulting from a failing foundation. The new structure system is proposed to achieve a safe and stable building. And the money will, this money will come from the historic. The historic money.
Historic side, yeah. And what's the amount?
The 300,000, I'm sorry.
Okay. It seems to be the number,
Well, that's our limit.
yeah. Used to be 250, right? So it went up to
Correct. We decided
Yeah,
there had been inflation.
inflation and everything, you know. All right, that's good, good explanation. That doesn't happen to be the Gunther and Handels building, is it really?
No.
I remember that place. No. Little delicatessen and then.
I was just gonna say, it's got a great history. It was, I guess, a delicatessen for many, many years.
Yeah, I remember it as a kid. All right, number 6, Kavanaugh Building Reuse and Development.
So this is the redevelopment of the Kavanaugh building into affordable housing with some storefronts on the ground floor on the State Street side of the building. And where city council approved a previous grant for this building, and we're now recommending another 300,000 from the undesignated reserve.
Okay. Is that gonna be enough to finish the project or?
Well, Donald Mitchell is here, so.
Donald Mitchell's here. I didn't want to put him on the spot,
That's
but
okay, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
FYIs for our information, Donald.
Yeah,
What's
so
going on?
300,000, it will help us. So we have to do some restructuring of our capital stack. But this will be a help to get us closer to getting the project capitalized and then starting hopefully at the end of the summer or early fall. Starting or resuming. Yeah, because we did some work there, we had to stop. And so now we're trying to just do a reset and get our capital stack in line, and then we'll proceed.
Right. Do you expect there to be a need for more money beyond this 300,000?
Not from CPA. We don't anticipate coming back and asking CPA. They've been generous in this round to fund us. So we're looking at other sources that'll help us get there. But this is a piece of the puzzle.
Right. How's your patience? All right. Going along good?
Yeah.
Development is challenging.
So we're finding out. Yeah.
How many units are there gonna be there?
Initially our goal was to have 35, 37, but we gotta scale that back. And so right now we're looking at getting 25 done and then maybe getting another 10 done later. So we're kind of breaking it up.
Makes.
Yes.
Well,
Here, you had a question.
oh, yes. Stephen, go ahead.
Stephen Howard, two questions.
Yes.
Why did you pause, and how much would the eventual project cost up to the amount that you said at 28?
25 units.
25?
Yeah.
How much would that cost to complete? And then how much would it cost to get the additional amount of units?
The additional 10?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first reason, so we paused because we had a change in our development team. So we had a dispute with our architect. So we had to take a stop there and do a reset. We anticipate the cost on the 25 units will be somewhere between 6 and 7 million. And on the remaining 10 that we would propose at a later date, we're just unsure because we don't know if that would happen a year after we're done or 2 years. But I guess what the best estimation I can give you now is we're probably looking somewhere around $300 per square foot. So if we build a 3-story building and it's 10,000 square feet, or not 10,000, like 5,000 square feet, you multiply that times 300, that gives you the number.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At the time, and I know we're not gonna get into big detail on this,
Yes.
but this was a partnership of some sort with
It
MHA.
still is.
And it still is.
Yes, so we still have a active partnership with MHA to do a master lease where they can take most, if not all, of the units.
And people can live there independently or something
Yes.
like that. or-
Yep, they're gonna provide support services to those folks living there.
And the units, are they affordable or market?
Yeah, they're affordable.
All right, 300,000 there. That's 5 times 300,000, so we're at 1.5 million. I'm sure you guys have all the math on all this stuff, but I'm just.
Just so you know, I mean, the recommendations that are coming tonight are 3.5 million
Total,
total.
pretty good. All right, thank you, Donald.
Thank you.
So move on to Paramount Theater roof replacement.
So this is, the vacant Paramount Theater has water infiltration issues with its roof. And we're recommending $300,000 for that roof replacement. Part of it will come from the historic reserve and part from the undesignated reserve.
And this was bought at auction by somebody from Connecticut or something, right?
Correct. You can see the applicant is SacDev Real Estate Development, Inc. That's from, I believe, Windsor, Connecticut.
Right. So did they apply directly?
They applied to us directly. And obviously their plans in the long run are to renovate the theater, to renovate the building that is attached to the theater into probably apartments.
But renovate the theater separately, though.
Correct.
Still make it a theater.
And the roof is, right now, is an important issue, because if the roof doesn't work.
Yeah, Bob used a fancy term. I thought there was a word called flooding, but you just said some moisture infiltration or something.
The roof's leaking.
Roof's leaking.
Yeah, water roofs, leaking roofs this go around.
All right, didn't we have to do that at Court Square too? Pay for the roof before we got the project done anyway. This guy was in there in a meeting a couple years ago and it brought back memories. For sure, it's a cool little spot. Right, financial order 8650 North Riverfront Park, North Riverfront Park, dock improvement.
So this is a proposal from the Pioneer Valley Riverfront Club and Parks, Buildings and Recreational Management to put in a new dock at North Riverfront Park. The old dock is approaching the end of its useful life.
Is this where the rowing stuff is?
Correct, right at the North End Bridge. And we're recommending 288,000 from the undesignated reserve.
Isn't that a private concern there that does the rowing, or is that part of, are they part of quasi public?
Well, so the park is a municipal owned facility. The old boathouse, which is on it, was previously privately, rented to the private Bassett boat distributor. And now it is rented to the nonprofit Pioneer Valley Rowing Club.
Okay.
Yep, they have a 20-year lease for their program to use that building.
Oh, they do.
Mhm.
Who's the guy that's associated with the place? Jim something?
He was previously there. It's now Ben Quick.
Oh, yeah, Ben Quick, gotcha. Great, thanks, Laura.
Yep.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good program that they have over there, and I think it's I don't want to say underutilized, but maybe a kind of hidden gem in that area. I mean, there are not many communities that have waterways that have rowing, and we happen to be one of them. And this is a really cool alternative for a lot of students and children to get into. So I think this is great that we're doing this.
Great.
It's also bringing people in from other areas that the rowing clubs in Northampton and in Holyoke use it as well.
I know.
So it does bring people into the city here.
If I could just add about the dock, it's not just to access for the rowing program. It's going to have, so there's going to be areas so that if you want to just get down to the water in an accessible way and maybe fish or just see the water viewing, wildlife viewing, you'll be able to do that. But then there will also be improved access for people using kayaks and then also the rowing club. And this will also help our emergency services. This is where they access the Connecticut River when they have to do rescues or get out on the water quickly, and having a stable dock will help them do that.
Oh, yeah. Good additional info there, Laura, thanks.
And most of all, it's free for inner city kids. So I love that.
Okay, great.
I have a question.
Stephen, go ahead.
Is there any way that I can get the information on the dock? Because since it seems to be a well-kept secret, I'd like to kind of spread the word because I'm usually out in the community handing out flyers and stuff. So maybe if I can get connected with those folks, I might be able to help promote it.
Laura, do you have info that you could get to Stephen, that you can help promote it, or?
Sure, if
you-
I can get Stephen, or if someone can give me Stephen's contact information, I can connect you with Ben quick. He would be the best one to tell you what programs they have and events coming up, because they also do the Dragon Boat program for breast cancer survivors. They do, and they have a regatta. There's a lot of programming happening down there, and Ben would be the best one to speak to it.
Either Councilor Delgado or Councilor Click Bruce can just send you my contact info.
Great, thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody, on that. That's good, good connection. Number 9, Greater Springfield Habitat for Humanity.
Yep, Greater Springfield Habitat for Humanity is proposing to build a new affordable single-family house on Hancock Street in the Six Corners neighborhood. And, you know, their target audience are folks that earn under 60% area median income. And we're recommending $250,000 toward their project. Part of it coming from the housing reserve and the rest coming from the undesignated reserve.
Did you say 250?
250 total.
That sounds great. Everybody always likes habitat stories. Okay, nice. Moving on to item 10, down payment assistance program citywide.
Yeah, this is a program run by the city's Office of Housing that provides down payment assistance to people earning under 100% of area median income. They give it used to be a $4,500 of assistance, but given the inflation in house value in Springfield, they're now going to be giving up to $7,500. And we're recommending $200,000 from the housing reserve and $2,500 from the undesignated reserve.
Okay, so what was the total, about
202,500.
Okay.
And this is a continuation of a program that has been funded for 3 years in the past.
Okay, that's great. Any questions? Okay, moving along to the Ames House roof repair on Maple Street.
This is for the David Ames House at 241 Maple Street. It's owned by now Commonwealth Academy Holding, which runs the Commonwealth Academy there. This is one of the few buildings still remaining with damage from the 2011 tornado. We're recommending $155,000 to rebuild the roof as it existed prior to the tornado.
All right, comments, questions from anybody? I'm sure you guys have been through all this stuff pretty closely. As you head towards the old McDuffie coming from Maple Street, is that right at the point? Is that the house right at the
No,
point?
that's the Wallace House. The, in the booklet in front of you,
Okay.
Counselor, are these. It is the big white house that used to have a monumental 2-story front porch.
Yeah.
And just before Ames Hill Road goes off.
Gotcha.
So it's the third building on your left as you go up Maple Street.
All right, great. Thank you. Yeah, good pictures. All right. Number item 12, Ecumenical Church roof repair,
Yep.
Eastern Avenue.
This came in from Ecumenical Church. This is the old Holy Family Church on the corner of Eastern Avenue and King Street. And as you'll see, it is one of the numerous buildings that had leaky roofs. So we have recommended 151,000 from the undesignated reserve for roof repair.
Okay. Isn't that, I don't know, I don't know it by the name Ecumenical Church, but I thought Bishop Timothy Paul Bayman was in that church.
I believe he is, and that's now the name of the church.
That's now the name, okay, because it was, it had like a Christian chapel or something.
Yes,
kind of
correct.
Name like that. Okay, thank you. Item 13, financial order for 52 Sumner.
So 52 Sumner is the former Faith United Church on the corner of Sumner Avenue in Fort Pleasant, and it is now Springfield Performing Arts Venue. So it's, I don't know whether counselors have been there. It now mounts a variety of performances within it. And they're stained glass windows in the what used to be the sanctuary and is now the performance hall, need renovation, and we're recommending $125,000 from the undesignated reserve.
Great, yeah, I have been there a few times, it's a great spot. Nice. Questions, anybody? Yeah.
Yes, I do have my hand raised, Counselor Allen. I have been to 52 Sumner several times, and I think they're a wonderful asset to the community. They put on a variety of plays, but if people haven't been there, it's worth going to see the wonderful job that they did. When you walk in there, you would have no idea that it had ever been a church. And I know they do have a production of Annie coming up in August, so hopefully people will go and support it because it's a great asset to the neighborhood.
Agreed. All right, 125 there. Thank you, Counselor Walsh, for your comments. Elijah Blake House is item 14, exterior preservation.
So this is from the Springfield Museums. The Elijah Blake House is Springfield's most mobile home. It was built on State Street. And when the library was built, it got moved further on back on the property and then got moved an additional time to its current location, which is on Edward Street. And this is 115,000 from the undesignated reserve that will help with exterior renovation to the house.
Is that the place where lunch is served?
Correct. That's where the Blake House Cafe is
okay.
located.
Is this the place that was formed by a young man who had some drug problems and he actually started an organization to assist youth who are dealing with drugs?
This is a property that's been owned by the Springfield Museums probably for the last 100 and some odd years.
Okay, because I know there's a project with the same name, but this is more, I think it's more from the north end.
Never heard of it. Okay, sorry, don't know.
Okay, you've heard a lot of things, Bob. So.
Yeah.
Not saying that your memory is perfect, but
yeah,
you're up there. All right, item 15, Daniel's New Bethel Restoration Project.
Right, so this is Daniel New Bethel Church of God on Dwight Street in the north end. They have a leaky roof and soffit issues. So we're recommending 94,677,000 from the undesignated reserve.
You said 94,000. Did you mean to say $677?
Oh, $94,677. Sorry.
That's all right. Sounds good. White Street. Anybody? Not seen anybody. Immaculate Conception Church, that's the one right in the middle of Indian Orchard. Right?
Indian Orchard, we helped with this one several years ago with exterior carpentry and painting. They have deteriorated stained glass windows. We are helping with those windows that do not have religious imagery. And we're recommending 79,000 from the undesignated reserve.
Something like that, was the request for more?
Yes, the request was for 100,000. And I guess I would add, Counselor, that, this year, even though we had $3.5 million we could recommend, we had 35 projects requesting over $8 million of assistance.
Oh, wow.
It was a very difficult year for making a decision. And part of what the committee decided to do is almost half of the recommendations, we gave them something of what they asked for, thinking that at least then we'll be able to fund a few more people. So this is one, the 52 Sumner didn't get all they asked for. The Ames House didn't get all they asked for. We figure if they need more, they can come back in future cycles when maybe there isn't as much of a demand.
This actually was probably the most difficult year. The projects were all so good.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes the projects don't fit the qualifications for the state and all, but these were all really good projects. So it was this was the most difficult round we've done.
You see people doing it for the second or third time, so we kind of understand it better and what to put in for.
Well, I think that's certainly part of it, but I think just out of happenstance, every year in the past, we would always get a few applications which either were of dubious CPA eligibility or were not fully fleshed out that the committee would feel comfortable recommending them to the council. That was not really the case this year.
Good, well, that's good. You got plenty of stuff to do, apparently.
What was the reaction of the churches when they realized that anything that was of a religious nature could not be funded?
I think
they realized that, and so, for example, when Immaculate Conception came to us, they already said, we got X number of windows that have religious imagery, and we'll figure out how to fund their restoration. These are the windows that don't. So, we make it very clear that we cannot really help promote any particular religious group, and therefore we can't do anything that deals with religious imagery. We can certainly help preserve a historic asset.
and most of these churches have a historic asset to begin with. I mean, the churches, they're just not any churches. They're churches with, especially like the one in the Immaculate Conception in Indian Orchard. That has a lot of history, and so yeah, so that's why the churches, that there's so many of the churches, especially in this one, and they all have leaky roofs this year.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks. All right, here comes, it sounds like the famous bench. Is this the famous bench?
This is the famous bench. This is the bench that was designed by the famous American architect Stanford White to go at Stern Square, that was removed this past summer. And the park department has asked for money of $63,300 to return the bench to its original location.
I would just add that the Metro Center put this application in with our support.
Correct.
So So the bench was at Stern Square and it was removed out of Stern Square.
Correct. It's now in storage in the park department.
And this work will be done there or somewhere.
Well,
Restoring the bench.
Well, the bench is in pieces. The bench was always in pieces
Oh.
and it is assembled. So I would assume, but I defer to Laura Walsh, that the park department will hire a mason contractor who will put in a foundation and then will reassemble the bench on its original site.
And that was at Stern Square,
Correct.
in the middle of Stern
In the
Square.
middle of Stern Square. The fountain was always at one end of Stern Square. The Puritan was at the other end of Stern Square. So we will have at least 2/3 of the original plan of Augustus St. Gaudens and Stanford White back in Stern Square.
Those are very impressive names.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve is over here writing down notes and stuff. You give a report on this, Steve.
What year two is?
Very good. Well, that bench became famous in the last year, so I'm glad we're gonna fix it up. Any questions for anybody? 4 items to go: McKnight Park restoration, Buckingham Fountain, and Triangle Park.
So this is from the McKnight Neighborhood Council in cooperation with Parks, Buildings, and Recreational Management. And it is to renovate the triangle at Buckingham Street and Bay Street. There is an existing fountain there that has not worked in years. And we are recommending 55,000 from the undesignated reserve to get the fountain working again.
We did it at Cunningham Street and Springfield Street.
They also just restored a fountain in Forest Park.
Oh, right, then the one in 4. Is that working now?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's great. All right. You got a fountain team there in Forest Park, in Park Department?
We're getting the hang of it. But you know, each fountain is a little bit unique and different, so they're not cookie cutter, but
Because the CPA also helped repair the fountain in Thompson Triangle, which is where Worthington and St. James Avenue come together, and to repair the smaller fountain that's on Dartmouth Terrace.
and then we're working, Bob, on Clarendon Street as well.
Correct.
That one's in design at the moment.
Wow. Any new fountains, or are they all older ones?
Increase our water.
They're all original fountains that we're renovating and restoring.
Well, no, I have to clarify that. So
Yes, thank
the
you.
one at Florentine Gardens, there used to be a fountain there decades ago. We have helped finance a fountain that is reminiscent of what used to be there, although we have no photos that show what it looked like. The one up in Atwater, the fountain that was ultimately installed was not what was there before. The one at Thompson Triangle was installed in the 1980s, so it's not a historic fountain yet, but it's a centerpiece for the park.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
It was designed at around the same time as the others, so it's at least the open space portion of it. So but it's great. We wouldn't have the funds to restore these or renovate them without the help of CPA. So we're very appreciative of these projects.
Hey, that was supposed to work, so that's good.
Walter Kroll just joined.
All right, so that was item 8.
Excuse me, through the chair, Walter, did you have anything to add?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for that from CPA and from the council. I mean, we appreciate all of that, and it's obviously important to the neighborhood. It's important to neighbors, and we really appreciate the support.
That's great. Thank you, Walter.
Perfect timing, Mr. President.
Thanks, catering. Number 19, financial orders, St. Peter's Episcopal Church. Buckingham Street.
Yeah, so this is St. Peter's Church, which is in the McKnight Historic District. And they have broken stained glass windows in the large arched window that faces Buckingham Street. And we are recommending $52,820 from the Historic Reserve to repair the stained glass window and to install new protective covering over it.
Okay. Great.
Through the chair, I just have a question. Bob, do you know how old that church is? Seems to me it's been around a while.
That church, the current building was built in 1905. The congregation had a previous building on King Street, in the Old Hill neighborhood on the corner of Nelson. And that church is still there. So they went from one church and then moved about 5-6 blocks up in the early 20th century.
Thank you.
Good. Right, St. Peter's. Now we're down on Hamden Street, Parent Villages Nonprofit Center.
Yeah, this came in from a organization, Parent Villages, Inc. They've bought 3234 Hamden Street. And they are using it for their offices and renting it out to some other nonprofits. And the building has a variety of deferred maintenance issues. And we're recommending 45,000 from the Historic Reserve to fix the leaky roof.
And so you stick with leaky.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of leaky roofs, Bob.
Sadly, though, these historic buildings, if you don't put a cover on them, then the buildings will,
What will going to do damage?
right, the damage will, yeah. So,
Through the chair, if I may.
Yeah.
I see this theme of leaky roof, and I'm just wondering if there's something that we could be doing in the city to be more proactive, on this, because it seems like more and more of these buildings, especially a lot of our older historic homes, are going to be facing a lot of this stuff. So it's just making me think that we should be, something that the council or the city could be doing proactively, to kind of, I don't know, I guess it just addressed this issue in some way. I don't know what that looks like, but it's just making me think right now.
Well, Kathy, there's programs like Tina has programs like that.
We run programs with NDR, CDBG NDR for exterior repairs, and Healthy Homes, where we've done home and a lot of roofs. We run every year the emergency repair program, which is all roofs under CDBG. So they do a lot.
How would people access that?
There's right now, the other programs are closed, but we have every year emergency repair program, and the applications are at the Office of Housing.
I've been promoting that program.
I know I volunteer at the Gray House, and Gray House is putting a new slate roof on. I don't know how much it is, but it's expensive. And somebody, I think, donated a lot of money, but that was a big puzzle. And sitting here, I'm wondering.
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking out loud. I mean, as we kind of see more of these coming on, something that we should be thinking about, not just for more programs to help pay for it, but also for us to be kind of cognizant. I mean, we've had a lot of buildings in our downtown that have had landlords who've done nothing with them for a while, right? And so I'm just thinking, our housing stock is getting older, our buildings, are falling into disrepair. So it's got to be something we can do more proactive with current landlords. Because I know this particular building, they kind of inherited something that, wasn't being taken care of from what it sounds like. So, but anyways, I don't want to keep this any longer. It's just making me think out loud.
Good idea, yeah. Good thinking. Good thinking, Lincoln. All right, I think we're on the last one. Doyle Avenue Trail. This is the farm in Springfield, right? Nordica Street.
Yes, correct. This is the farm in Springfield and it abuts Conservation Commission land. So this application came in from the owner of the farm, Todd Crossett, and with the support of the Springfield Conservation Commission. And it is to improve the part of the trail that's actually on Conservation Commission land. And we are recommending $28,900 from the undesignated reserve.
It says West Side Liberty Street parcel. I associate Nordica Street more with Newberry Street.
Correct, but the land that the Conservation Commission owns is assessed evidently off of Liberty Street.
That's, I believe that's the 40 acres my grandfather donated
On the,
on the other side of
the
Liberty
other side,
Street.
yeah.
The plaza side of Liberty Street.
Oh, no, this is
is
on the non-plaza
On the
side.
non-plaza side. That's, it gets weird in there, but I was growing up, my grandfather had 100 acres and he developed a lot of them. And he donated 40 acres to the Springfield Conservation Commission. And that was involved
Oh,
with
that's nice.
Mike's project for last year.
Mhm.
Mike Fenton had a CPA project. that
To
he did.
acquire land.
Yes, that was all in there somewhere. Yeah, it's been out of the family for 40 years or something. All right, that's
Through the chair, is that something we can name after you?
it sound like a what?
I said, is it something we can name after you?
I would love it. It was named after my grandfather, but yeah, if you want to name it after me, that's for catering.
Okay, I'll do a resolve.
Just for a sense of levity, Mr. Chair, what about a mule? What about a mule? 40 acres in a mule?
Oh, gotcha. All right, well, that's a good description of all that stuff. You know, Karen Lee is here. Did you want to add anything, Karen? Any of this? Are you here still? Saw you before.
She's still here. She's muted.
So you were the three people, the two of you and Karen, who work on all this stuff.
Well, no, the committee is.
Well, the committee.
The committee's a 9-person committee. Karen is our administrator who put together the presentation that just was on the screen.
Great. But the three of you are the only, I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anybody who's here.
Oh, in terms of it right now,
Oh,
Yolanda is the only other CPC member who is here.
Nice. Well, good job, CPC people. Keeping us moving, keep preserving our good stuff. That's good. Catering or Jose, would you? I mean, we've just done a lot of financial orders here. 10 or so were in the normal category and another 20 some odd were in the CPA category.
I'll make a recommendation that we move all the items in the finance committee with a favorable recommendation to the full council.
Second.
A nice order, a second, that's great. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, aye. Good.
CPA, I think you did a great job. Great projects. Gonna help a lot of people.
Projects. Are there still others like that aren't on the list? There are a lot that are still.
Well, there are 15 projects that did not get recommended.
That's what I mean.
Partly because, you know, we didn't have the money to recommend. So there are other park department projects that didn't get recommended. There are some historic projects that didn't get recommended, and you know, sometimes some of these projects have had to come several times. So, for example, 52 Sumner applied 2 years ago, didn't get recommended, applied this year and got recommended. So perseverance pays.
That's what happened with Treetop Park, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken.
Correct.
So Treetop Park is out in my area and Is that, I haven't been by it recently, but the Treetop Park and the park on Alden Street, I don't know what we called that, but there's some work being done on that. Are those, what's the status of those, Laura?
Yep, so Treetop Park, we're finalizing the design, and then the next step would be to go before the Conservation Commission for approval and permitting, and then we would get into construction there. We also wanted to, it's hard when you're doing a park project in the summer because you want to try and limit the disruption to the park, and Treetop is used a lot during the summer for some soccer day camps and things like that. So we're trying to work around that schedule as well. Alden Street, a parcel that you're talking about is aptly named as Alden Street Park, and that is under construction, and we are plugging away. So it should be done hopefully probably closer to August, assuming there's no unforeseen issues that come up.
Excellent. That's good. The city keeps looking better.
What, can I ask to the chair, what are the park department projects that didn't get funded?
There was a proposal that came in from the East Forest Park neighborhood group for work at Nathan Bill.
And Myrtle Street Phase 2.
Well, no, the other park department.
Oh.
Other parks.
Oh,
I think that may have been the only other park project, the only park project that didn't get recommended this year. Laura, do you?
The only other one, Bob, would have been Myrtle Street Phase 2.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Myrtle Street Park in Indian Orchard didn't get recommended. It was recommended, I think, 2 years ago. So there is some CPA assisted work taking place. New Child's Playground, and they came in with looking for additional amenities, and they did not get recommended this year. Once again, you know, once we voted, we vote on projects with the amount, and when we hit 3.5 million, we stopped voting. So it wasn't as if we voted against them, we simply ran out of money.
Yeah. But Myrtle Street's getting a great new playground this summer, and that's also currently under construction and hopefully should be finished by July or the very beginning of July. And then, like you said, Perseverance will probably reapply next year for the Phase 2.
Well, since I will be reporting on East Forest Park Civic Association on Wednesday, their meeting is Wednesday. I usually have a 5 or 10 minutes or whatever on the agenda. I was going to share this, and I know that Frank Ryan, that project you're referring to, at times it was going to be a gazebo, it was going to be update the trail, it was going to, I don't know what else it was going to be. I'm not sure what final iteration it was that you did not approve, but could you just tell me so I can, in case they complain to me Wednesday night when they see all this?
Well,
I
think it had two primary components. One was to turn one of the tennis courts into a pickleball court, and to have a walking trail around the park. And there was going to be doing some other, let's call it sidewalk work. Laura, do you want to elaborate on
sure.
that?
So, Tim, Councilor Allen, what we had done with East Forest Park Civic Association, as you know, we met with them and heard their concerns for Nathan Bill Park and what they would like to see approved.
We were in a meeting together at the.
Yep, so we ended up putting together a master plan for the whole park, and don't quote me off the top of my head. I want to say it's probably about a $1.5 million master plan for improvements that they would like to see over time. And the first step was to maybe try and do a first phase with the CPA funding, and that was to connect the tennis court area and the building and the basketball court to the parking lot with an accessible pathway and trail that would then connect to the further stone dust trail around, and then also the pickleball. They would like to see the playground renovated, as a future phase. And then the final phase, I believe, was to convert the existing stone dust accessible trail that goes around the whole park, to convert that from stone dust to either a concrete or an asphalt path that would be a little less in need of maintenance. Stone dust is great, but as you know, we've been getting a lot of heavy rains, and heavy rain doesn't work well with keeping the accessibility of stone dust. So the master plan is still there, and we'll just have to go back to the drawing board to identify funding sources.
Okay. Were you dealing mainly with Frank Ryan or with Bethany Romano or?
With the whole committee there, but Bethany was my main contact.
Okay, great.
And they do have a little bit left of their CPA, or excuse me, their ARPA money that was going to be used in addition to the CPA funding for phase one. So we can kind of take a look at, you can let them know at their meeting. We can revisit what's left of the budget now that the building work is done, and take a look at what can be done in the short term.
Do they know that they did not get approved?
I don't know if they know directly. They haven't received, I don't know if they received, I don't know if Karen lets people know that they didn't get it. I think most people the people that were selected for funding were told they were selected so that they could be a part of this process. But I figured after the votes tonight, once it's official, we can kind of let them know. If they
I just need to know because I'll be talking to them and.
Yeah, I don't know if they've officially been told. I don't
Oh,
know how CPA handles that for
I'll find out
applications that are
beforehand.
chosen.
Okay, thanks.
They haven't gone out yet.
So we did a vote. We did our vote. Is there anything else we need to discuss here and relative to any of this stuff? Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Who wants to come to East Forest Park Civic Association Wednesday night? East Forest
Excuse me,
Park
Mr.
Library.
Chair.
Yeah,
This is Karen. Yes, if the applicants that did not get selected were informed.
they were, okay. Thank you. All right, well, thanks, everybody. I estimated 4:45, but we actually did pretty good. So we're done at 6:05. So,
Councilor Allen, will you make a recommendation to the council president that we take all the CPA projects as one vote?
yeah, I will. Yeah,
Thank you.
I have not yet, but I will.
Okay.
And who's present? Are you guys gonna be there and present like you did here?
Oh, yeah.
Do you expect people to come who are interested in these particular projects?
We certainly have encouraged all of the recommended applicants to be present either physically or on Zoom. So, the head of Commonwealth Academy had been on the Zoom in case there were questions. The head of Habitat was on the Zoom in case there were questions. Walter, obviously, and Kathy Brown. So we'll see how many.
How many we have?
And then Donald's actually physically here.
He's here.
I'm trying to pretend it's summer.
All right, thank you, everybody. Long meeting. Appreciate everybody's help and support. Thank you.
Thank you.